So I feel like I haven't been staying all too true to my word. Apologies for the voice, it still feels pretty bad. It doesn't feel as bad as it did yesterday, but at the same time it's a little bit more congested, which makes the pain go away, but the quality of the speech a lot more inhibited. But either way, today we're talking about a guy that I kinda said we would be talking about a lot more, but the last time we had made a video about him, it was going over the World Juniors and talking about his comparison to another defenseman prospect that has been highly touted and talking about how they both have had pretty bad games as of late, but this video is a lot more optimistic than that. Believe me. We're heading over to the Boston University Terriers in the NCAA and talking about a Montreal Canadiens prospect whom Craig Button had such an incredibly hot take about that we cannot go out there and ignore it. So, without further ado, let's talk about a guy that has been captivating Canadiens fans ever since he was drafted in the 62nd overall spot in 2022. This is Lane Hutson. Now, I don't think most Canadiens fans need the introduction as to who Hutson is, but just in case you do, this is a small dude. He's 5'10 now, listed on Elite Prospects, 148 pounds as a left-handed guy, 18 years old, born on February 2004. And this season playing for the BU Terriers in the NCAA, the guy has 27 points in 22 games played, 9 goals, 18 assists. He had 4 points in 7 games played for Team USA at the World Juniors, and I mean, honestly, just looking at the numbers by itself, point per game wise, this is incredible. Not only as a freshman in the NCAA, playing in a very good division, Hockey East with Boston University, but the fact that this guy is also a freaking defenseman blows my mind. And in fact, if you go over to the NCAA and you look at only defenseman points, period, you could see that Lane Hutson is right up there amongst the best of the best. He is number 1. 25 points puts him above Jackson Lacombe for first in the NCAA. By the way, Lacombe has 4 more games played. If you sort by points per game, Hutson is no longer first. That honor belongs to Cade Mason, playing out of the Long Island University system, but you have to remember that Cade Mason is playing in a much weaker division. The guy's 21 years old, and Lane Hutson is smaller, younger, playing for a better team, playing in a better division, and has tougher competition all around. All the guys up here with NHL Draft status are below Lane Hutson. He is arguably, if not just undisputably, the best NCAA defender, period. And it comes with a few things that make him so special. The way he's able to shift in the offensive zone, the way he's able to create offense, the way he's able to traverse and find his teammates, set guys up, and deceive opponents. He's a very good player with a dynamic edge that allows him to produce points like crazy. In fact, he's so good that if you head over to this tweet made by the Habitant, the difference in production rate between Habs Lane Hutson and New Jersey Devils Luke Hughes is bigger than the difference between Luke Hughes and the 75th ranked defenseman in production, who is undrafted Jackson Decker. There are levels to this. Now, the point per game difference between Lane Hutson and Luke Hughes on this graphic from 2 days ago, 1.23 points per game subtracted 0.87 points per game. Let's do the math because I'm really bad at math. Man, I was really good at math in high school, but it's no longer with me. A 0.36 points per game is the difference between Hutson and Hughes in terms of the point per game number. If you go from Luke Hughes all the way down and you minus 0.36, the guy at the very bottom of the list is number 75, Jackson Decker, and that's what this entire thing is. You can't see it because it's so small, but the difference between Hutson and Hughes is so big that it's smaller than the difference between Hughes and the 74th to 75th ranked guy in the NCAA in points per game. That's mind-blowing. Brian Wild said this: Lane Hutson is the top scoring defenseman in USA college hockey. He also leads in points per game for a rear guard. That was a few days ago. Hutson has 22 games and has 27 points. He is a freshman as well. As many of you know, Brian says, I was extremely excited when the Canadiens nabbed him. I thought they missed their chance. I could not believe he was available at 62nd. However, even with my enthusiasm, in no way did I think the top scoring defenseman in US college was a possibility as a freshman. Then you have yourselves this article on Montreal Hockey Now. This was from yesterday, published by Marco D'Amico. Canadiens prospects receive high praise from NHL analyst. Link is in the description. What Marco D'Amico did was he went out there on a Zoom call with Craig Button. And they talked about the Canadiens prospects, they talked about Joshua, they talked about Owen Beck, they talked about Lane Hutson. The entire article goes over each of the analyses provided. Analyses, plural for analysis. I don't know what the word is, but it goes over each of the conversations that Button and D'Amico have regarding these prospects, but I wanted to focus on the Lane Hutson part, because you have yourself some very strong comments made by Craig Button himself. Take a look at this. Prior to the World Junior Tournament, I previewed some prospects and Lane was one of them. I've watched Lane play since he was 16 years old, and all he does at every level is meet every successive demand. Whatever the next challenge is, he meets it. If Lane Hutson was 5'11", he would have been in consideration for the first overall pick. There's no question about it. And this is where things get really crazy, because he brings out that hypothetical what if he was just a tad taller argument. Now I will say, Hutson right now is listed as 5'10" on Elite Prospects, but that wasn't always the case. He had been listed as 5'8" for a period of time. He was listed as 5'9", I believe, on the NCAA website. So the guy is considerably growing if you take a look at the difference in height between all these different websites from different parts of the year. But Button's pretty much saying if he was 5'11" at the time of the draft, he could have been the first overall selected player, also by Montreal. And if this is the case, then I mean, okay, the Canadiens got themselves a first overall worthy guy at 62nd overall. That's pretty gosh darn good. That's like Nikita Kucherov levels of success right there, isn't it? Of course, I'm kind of joking, but at the same time, this is always one of the more fun debates to be having, not just with Hutson, but with Cole Caulfield himself. Take a look at that guy. He was scoring at a near 50-goal pace while having a bad shoulder. This was a player that a lot of people said, hey, if he was just 6 feet tall, like if he was the size of my smartphone taller, he could have been a lock for top 3. If Lane Hutson was just, I don't know, like 2 thumbnails sized taller, and I'm saying like real life thumbnails, not the thumbnails that I make for my YouTube videos. If he was the size of 2 thumbnails taller, he could have been the first overall guy. Now, this assessment was obviously met with a lot of mixed reaction on Twitter. I saw a lot of people pointing out that, hey, okay, I mean, if he was 6 feet tall, he could have been top 10, but first overall, really? Like, over Slafkovsky? Had he produced and played the same way as he is right now while being a little bit bigger, would he have been that highly touted to have gone over Simon Nemec, who is also a defenseman? Nemec is also right-handed, so what's the deal with that? Could Hutson have gone over Jiricek? Now, there are some more comments here from Craig Button that I also wanted to read from you here. Everything Lane Hutson does when he plays is show how superior he is to the competition. He played U18 when he was U17. He was on the junior team at 18. He's been one of the best defensemen in the entire NCAA as a freshman. I don't think anyone's questioned his talent, but you know, the smaller player has to continue proving himself. Well, Lane just keeps proving himself time and time again. And so my voice is kind of painful right now, so I want you to let me know in the comments all your thoughts about this Lane Hutson thing and whether or not you think he could have gone first overall, or second or third, somewhere in the top 5, let's say, had he been 6 feet or 5'11", rather than 5'8" at the time of the draft. I have no doubt that he's probably grown a little bit, considering all the websites online have differing heights from 5'8" nowadays, but Craig Button was the guy that said it, man. Link in the description as always if you want to see the analysis made on Beck and Waugh, as well as read the rest of the Hutson comments yourself. Not to mention the video interview is also linked in the description. It's in the article, so go ahead and scroll down to the bottom there if you want to see that. But thoughts in the comment section below about Lane Hutson, the way he has been performing this season for Boston University. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.